Chum Q. So for those of you already aware of what you should be doing, you can start just getting into some pivoting. But once again, Chum Q means seeking the bridge. So, you know, the external bridge being the bridge between myself and an opponent, but also the internal bridge from my center through to the extremities. You want to make this connection from your center to the fingertips, toes and crown so that your whole body conveys anywhere someone touches your body, you convey the whole power of the body because you've connected the center to everything. So seeking the bridge is the external bridge between yourself and an opponent, and the internal bridge from your center through to the extremities. How do we practice this and why? So the foundation, as you guys should know, is pivoting, meaning turning from the center of mass consciously. Now, on initial observation, you'll think, oh, it's pretty simple. You're just turning your body on the spot, right? And yes, you could say it is. However, just because you can move your body like this doesn't mean that it's connected. Further, it doesn't mean you have the state on as you do it. Because even trying to maintain the state in Sifu John, softly drawing up with that good sense of vibrational quality, so the good emotional quality, so you have good energy in your center. Sensing the whole space, so conscious of the whole space the body occupies. Focusing everything forward down the power line, sinking and dissolving. So maintaining all of that as you go through the form sequence, that's already one level, but then maintaining that now as you turn. That's what we're looking to do here. Maintain the state as you move the body and turn from the center of the center. So that point, the center of mass, which is somewhere in behind the belly button, somewhere in this area for everyone. So my suggestions, which you can scale out according to your current skill level, is firstly, if it's quite new to you, just softly draw up and sense your center. So center yourself, soft drawing up from the base, sense your center with a good feeling, and then just turn. Try to slowly turn from that point somewhere in behind the belly. Now, the reason you slowly turn is so that you can notice any points of tension in your system which activate because of the turn. Whether it's in your legs or shoulders, hips, it will be different for everyone. And then as you slowly turn, you can consciously release out any tension using sinking. So you're centering and sensing the center, you're turning from the center, and then you're sinking and dissolving any tension points. So that's a good way to start. If you feel, okay, I'm feeling very confident with this, then you softly draw up and center yourself. Sense the whole space and sink. So you can add parts of the state. I center myself, softly drawing up, get a good feeling quality. I sense my whole space, and then I turn. Now this is better, of course, but oftentimes it's hard to concentrate on too many pieces at once. Now, why is it better? Because if you're sensing the whole space, you're getting that sense of unification of structure. Remember, the way to unify your structure is through sensing the whole space. You sense the whole space the body occupies, that deepens and builds the connection. That's the first layer of unification of structure. So, softly drawing up, sensing the center of mass, the center, sensing the whole space as you turn. And if you're feeling that's quite easy, you're happy with that, you can add the sinking in. So, meaning you have a continual washing down and release, kind of like gravity, right? So you can bring that quality in as well. Now, if that's already too simple for you, and you think, okay, yep, I've centered, I'm sensing, I'm sinking, and I'm turning from the center, then add the power line. The power line should be, ultimately that's the essence of the Wing Chun fighting style's advantage. We open our center up, get a good frequency in there, and we target the mind, the mass, the momentum, the energy. Our entire being is funneled and focused down the center plane, which we're calling the power line, because you get that sense of power and uplifted frequency in the center, and then you have it like a line which is connected down through there. So, ultimately that's, where you want to be aiming towards, having that power line on all the time. And if you can maintain the power line, right, feeling good and upright in the center, flowing from your center to that line in front of you, and it activates the rest of the state. So as you get the power line focused, like a plane of energy between you and something like this. So imagine this went from my crown to the floor. There's this line that goes from my center all the way through to the opponent, right? Or the target. So ultimately your objective is to have that idea, right? That all of your power, your mass, your momentum, your energy, your thought, your emotion, your whole being funnels down that line. And this isn't something you have to create or make. You have a point of focus. You have a center. You have energy within your system. You have intention. So all of these are just components that you already have and you are. You're just being conscious of it flowing through the center to the center. Further to that, we are all given energy moment to moment. Meaning, you don't have to work at energizing your system. Yes, you could eat better foods and have more sleep, sure, then you'll feel more energy, but constantly you're being given energy through breath, through light, through sleep and food, so you're constantly being revitalized. So the energy within your system, you're just consciously directing it now. So what am I trying to say very simply? The power line is the conscious use of several faculties of your nature. Your center, your intention, your emotional quality, and the direction of your body mass and energy down this line. So it's not anything crazy or new. You just want to be focused on it. So to come back to my initial point, if you feel that as you are turning from the center, okay, that feels good, then you sense everything. I'm turning while I sense. You're sinking now, so you're sinking, sensing, centered as you turn. Then bring in the power line. It's like you see and feel that line in front of you, this line here, and you're turning it. So that you're able to move the state, and if you think of its practical application, how you can stay trapped on a person and maintain state. So whether it's in sparring or in chi sao, you're able to maintain your connection to the person through movement. So as your body turns and moves, and even stepping further as we go through the whole form, you can maintain state because you've trained it into your system. So get lost in that for a minute. At the level you find possible, like maybe just centering and moving the center is good for you. Perhaps you can sync and also focus on the power line as well. Just get lost in that turn. My master Chun, he was famously known to have practiced pivoting every day for hours to really refine that movement. So think of it this way. If you're turning a ball this big, right, in your center, like a basketball, then the distance from the outer extremity from the ball to your hand is shorter than if you're turning a tennis ball. So the smaller the point you turn, the greater the lever becomes. So you're ultimately wanting to turn like a pinhead or an atom within your center. So you're turning from a smaller point, creating a bigger lever within your system. And then key to that is sensing the whole space. So as you turn, you're turning the whole structure unified so that someone deals with the whole structure, mass and momentum. And then the second piece of structural unification is the power line. It's the targeting. If everything is pointed in the same direction, then all of the power from your space is going to the one spot, meaning it's all unified in its direction, but also internally via sensation, via sensing. So what you're probably coming to realize is that everything is about the state. It's all about the application of the state into the different forms, so that you're able to manifest that level of power and fluidity and speed whenever you are in a combat situation. Alrighty. So for those of you that already know Sil and Tao, are very confident with the state, and you feel you can do. So if you can do the whole form without thinking about where the pieces should go, meaning Sil and Tao, the first form, then you're kind of getting close to ready for Chum Q. If you can really feel every part of the state, and you're very confident with your Sil and Tao, and you're confident with your Chi Sao as well, that's another good indicator, then practice Chum Q. If not, then you should probably just keep pivoting so that you don't build bad movement patterns in. So if you're not really ready for it yet, just keep working on your pivoting for Chum Q. If you are ready for Chum Q, then join me. Good. I'm just going to turn on the aircon. Give me a sec. Alrighty. You can hold it there on the form practice and the Chum Q. We've got like about another 5 minutes for this session. So what questions do you have on either state, Sifu Tao, or Chum Q? So anything backwards from Chum Q?
I think what I'm wondering for this rotation, like sinking in and like on the floor, I don't know if I'm like pivoting my feet or if I'm supposed to stand in the stance, but like, there's friction on the floor.
Yeah.
And I think I'm trying to like not feel that tension by like twisting my spine up. I don't know if that's like
Sure.
the
Gotcha.
right idea.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, good question. There's a few different points to consider on that. The first one is if you have a perfect surface, meaning you've got Kung Fu slippers and or socks and a slippery floor, so you can actually really pivot with very little friction, then it should essentially have your feet come from the Wing Chun stance to what we call the Chum Q stance, where the foot on the side that you're facing faces directly forward, and the foot at the back points off about 45 degrees. So that would be the configuration, straight and 45. Or you can have a look at my feet as well. I'll point it down. So it starts in Sifu Tao, and then when you pivot, ideally you'd have it as, see, this one's pointing forward and this one's pointing 45. That's the kind of ultimate, in the perfect scenario, because you have footwear that will slide and a surface which is also quite smooth, right? So that's the ultimate. If that isn't possible because you've got boots on, or you're practicing, and you're out and you got shoes on, or you got socks on carpet and it's not as smooth, let's just say, then you pivot according to what your body can do. So for example, let's just say you had strong boots on and you can't really move your feet, then you'd pivot as far as you can without causing any pain or tension or restriction to your own joints. So you can still, for example, let's just say I'm wearing really heavy boots and I can't move, I just turn as far as I can, and that's enough, and it just stays where it is, So the body would actually twist slightly because of the surface. But I wouldn't, to the last point, I wouldn't lift my spine up to try and release the friction in practice. Yes, you'd step and turn if it was a fight to face the person, but in practice, you're just trying to manage moving the state and from the center of the center. So, there's no need for you to have to lift the spine up and get your feet off the floor. So in summary, on a perfect surface, you'll feel that everything moves smoothly and there's very little tension in your system, ideally. If you have friction with the floor, just move it as far as you can and still maintain. So you can kind of keep the front Sifu Tao stance and pivot, right? So you kind of get like a little bit of a twist in the spine, but that's okay because you're still trying to move with the state from the center. Lastly, try not to lift the spine up to get your feet to that position. Just go as far as you can, and keep in mind, if it was a fight, who cares? Just turn completely. You may need to step. They're the things I'd keep in mind there. Good question. Alrighty, what other questions do we have?
Sifu.
Yo.
With the super sound, when they come out for the
Tansa.
sound, I have problems doing my fists. When I make my fists, I'm over rotating. So I do a funny thing. So I just want to know when I should start making the fist.
Sure, let's fix that all up. So the Hoon Sao is what you're asking about. So anytime you do this circular movement, that's a Hoon Sao. That's the circling hand. So first things first, make sure the palm's fully flat. Think of it like you've got water rushing through your fingers. That's making it nice and straight, right? So not floppy and flaccid. get a sense of turgidity and openness through your hand, right? So now that's first. And even get the thumb working with the fingers. So the thumb shouldn't be going that way, it should be going with the fingers. So they're all shooting in the same direction. They're just stronger when they work together. That's the first point. Next part is you just go directly up to the furthest point you can without having to do this. So you don't actually cup the hand. You keep it as straight as possible as you go directly up. Then from here you turn towards the center. So you keep it flat and straight and you turn to the center. Yeah, all the way till you get to the down position. Yeah, and you're keeping a sense of straightness in your hand, right? And then from here, you come to a fist and back.
That's because your hand needs to be out a little bit more. There you go.
Yeah, so palm flat, point up. So you'll feel like you're getting like a sense of kind of stretchiness through the wrist, but you're also working on the full mobilization of the wrist joint as well. Now, as you maintain that, you keep that length and energy through the fingers as you turn all the way around to the bottom to a fist and back. One of the biggest problems I see with people practicing Hun Sao is that they keep their hand kind of floppy and flaccid, like there's no life in it, and then they cup the hand as they turn. So you'll see my hand's cupped, and then they don't even finish the full turn. They kind of go, it's like more of a perfunctory, fancy thing they do at the end of a movement. But the Hun Sao is actually a useful lever in combat as well. So if I've made contact with someone and I use a floppy, flaccid hand, I'm not going to be able to affect anything. But if I can activate the state through the fingers and use it like this, then I've got a stronger, longer, more powerful lever to redirect them either to the outside gate or to redirect them away from hitting me. So it's actually a good question, because this is a useful movement which people slack on, because they kind of think, oh, it's just something I just do at the end of the movements. So yeah, palm flat,
Yes.
fingers up, side, down, keeping that flat straightness in the hand. You'll find this gets more flexible over time, and then to a fist and back. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, working on it.
And just to reinforce it to him, the rotation starts here and it rotates the entire time all the way back, right? So it's like here.
Yeah, so it's that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So the you mean the turning of the fist to point down to point up. Yeah. So it doesn't go here and then there. That's right. It turns as it comes back. That's right. You can kind of use that as a kind of blanket statement for most of the movements, that most joints are operating simultaneously, so throughout the whole movement. So for example, the side slash, I wouldn't go from here and then go 1, 2. They would both operate to the end. So I'd have my shoulder and my elbow both moving throughout the whole movement, as opposed to some systems they go like this and then they do that, but then you're subtracting the power of the second joint, because then they're only dealing with the power of the movement of one joint. So that's similar here. This moves throughout the whole movement, so that if someone is to be grabbing you, you've got more power because you're turning throughout the whole movement. Cool.